Well, Dan, this is Apple Bryan and Apple Baseball Classics, along with Dan Mattingly for the first of the NFL Picks Week. We're going to call the show Picks to Post. And so far we have one person on with us, so we might wait just a little bit, see if it's another minute or two before we start the show.
Fair enough. It's a pretty good mix of games this week. I was looking at it. They really set the schedule for themselves, as they should the first week.
Like the colleges, it looks like they're going to start with a bang.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. That first game. Well, you've got the helmets up already.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Actually, probably a little bit too close to the camera. But it might go like...
There you go. That's better.
Or do something like this.
Oh, there you go. You're getting fancy with it. Oh, yeah. I like that. Very cool. Did Justin ever send in your his picks list for this one?
No, he did not. He's been kind of AWOL. I need to get in touch with him.
Oh, yeah.
I see Ron McGrath is on with us. Hi, Ron. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started here in about 20 seconds or so.
There we go. I think I got to add to my art collection here. I got an umbrella in the background while you have Royals and baseball, so I got to up my game here.
If it rains, you're covered.
There you go.
All right, let's start with Season 2, Picks to Post. And as we have already noted before maybe you got on, that this is a great week of games. Remember last year, the first week, there was a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
And we were like a combined 50-50 on our picks. So it could only go up from there. And I see the potential for about the same thing this week because you have a lot of stars that have changed teams. And these days now, with only 3 preseason games, some teams don't play the number ones at all in preseason, like Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers never even suited up at any point. So it's hard to tell going into week one what you get, but we'll stake our reputations and do our best.
There we go. Nothing to lose here.
All right, first game is Buffalo at LA Rams. What do you got, Dan?
Rams are home, coming off the Super Bowl win. I'm sure they'll look good. Aaron Donald will be a force in the middle there. The Rams defense is maybe not as good as they were last year, but with Donald in the middle, he'll be disruptive. I just like the Bills a little bit too much for the Rams in this game. I know Rams are home, but I'm taking the Bills because of just the offensive onslaught that they should be able to bring out. And I'm not sure what we're going to see from Matthew Stafford with the elbow injury. Older quarterbacks don't shake that injury too quickly. So I will take the Bills here.
Okay. We're going to differ right away. I'm going with the LA Rams. I know they don't have much of a home field advantage. It's going to be interesting to see how many Buffalo Mafia shows up. I'm guessing quite a bit.
They travel well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see like about a third of the stadium wearing Buffalo jerseys. This is, as you said, Aaron Donald versus Von Miller. Von Miller is playing in this stadium for the third straight time. And the interesting thing is, for what I'm looking at for Los Angeles, in games last year where they gave up 1 sack or less, they were 9-1. So the offensive line can keep Von Miller out of Matthew Stafford's grill. They got a good chance to win. Another stat I'm looking at is that since 2004, the Super Bowl team always has a leadoff game, and they're 14-2 in these league games. That's
a great stat.
Pretty good record. And Sean McVay is 5-0 on opening day in his stint with the Rams. So that would make it like 19-2. I know Buffalo's a fantastic team. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl this year, I think. Is that what I picked last week? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You got to watch me. I'm liable to change my mind.
Yeah, I'm sure about week 4 you always change it up. That's good. We expect it.
But I don't think they're going to win here. Jalen Ramsey has played Stephon Diggs twice, and he shut him down twice. Diggs has only 4 catches. And the other thing, too, the last thing I'm looking at, too, is that Buffalo secondary doesn't have Tre'Davious White, and they got 2 inexperienced players at cornerback. Now, I know the Rams are a little bit short on receivers, but they got Cooper Kupp, you know. So Buffalo's going to be – my friend Harry Morgan, when I used to work with him in high school football, he said he could not play defense without cornerbacks. And without cornerbacks, Buffalo may have a really hard time. Stafford's elbow, I was worried about that, and I was kind of picking Buffalo early in the week, but the latest report says that he's feeling pretty good. It would be something to keep in mind down the road, but I think for week 1, he's going to be okay.
There you go. Do you like the hype around Allen Robinson, the receiver that came over from the Bears for the Rams?
Yeah, I think Rams have a good receiver coach.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd probably be a contributing factor.
Sure.
Okay, the next game is the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons.
Feel a little bit better about this pick. I'll take the Saints going away for this one. I expect them to clean up against a pretty overmatched roster. Be interested to see just a couple things from the Falcons, whether they're going to involve Kyle Pitts in the offense early and often. But even if he is a big factor, I doubt that team can keep up with the Saints and their defense and how well coached they'll be.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be maybe closer than most people think, but I'm also picking the Saints. Both teams have decent offensive lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think Kyle Pitts only had 5 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
But I think getting more involved. We're going to start with Marcus Mariota, but they've got Desmond Ridder, up and coming. As I said during the preview show, the Falcons are going to look like the old Marty Schottenheimer teams where they rely on the running game and the tight end, Cordell Patterson. But the Saints, I think, are a sneaky good team. I think they're underrated going into the season. Jarvis Winston, a lot will depend on him. But their offensive line is good. They got Olave and Landry and Alvin Kamara. That's 3 stars right there. Dennis Allen's a good coach, good head coach.
Michael Thomas coming back after a 2-year absence.
It's big he had Michael Thomas coming back. So, yeah, I think the Saints will win this game. All right, the next game, a little more difficult to pick. Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I love the Steelers. The only question is, Trubisky was named the starter. He was named a captain. I still think we're going to see their rookie at some point this year. And, I think Mitch is going to be able to move the ball with their weapons. But whether or not he can keep up with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins is a pretty tall ask. The Bengals got a little bit better on defense. Steelers excellent on that side of the ball with T.J. Watt and a lot of ability to pressure the quarterback. So I'm interested to see how the Bengals hold up. Good early test for them, but I expect them to win at home.
Got you down for Cincinnati. Pittsburgh did get a lot of work in the preseason because they were trying to figure out their quarterback situation, so they should be a little more ready to play. You mentioned the problem that Cincinnati has. They led the league in sacks allowed. They gave up 7 sacks in the Super Bowl. So it's kind of sad the Chiefs only got 1.
Right.
in the championship game.
Yeah, that fourth quarter, that was brutal.
But we won't go there.
No, never
Mitch
again.
Trubisky is a good quarterback. I think, if he gets pressured, he can get out of the way. He can create plays. J.J. Watt and Cam Howard, they're going to be important for Pittsburgh. The Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, can sack the quarterback too. Was it Henderson?
Yep.
And he led the league.
He's very good.
Yeah, he is, and he's back. So
and underrated. Nobody talks about him.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of scoring in this game. I don't think either team will get to 30, but I'm also picking the Bengals to win this game. All right, let's talk about the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field hosting a Trey Lance San Francisco 49ers.
I still do think it's going to be between the Bears, the Falcons, and probably the Texans for the worst record in the league. I really don't like the Bears roster. I'm sticking with that. I do like Justin Fields as a player. The things he did in college were very special. He is not surrounded by weapons. The offensive line might have gotten worse if that was possible from last year. Trey Lance, unproven, but they will probably be able to keep the ground game going with Elijah Moore, Deebo Samuel, and Trey Lance as another weapon, kind of a three-headed monster there, running the ball for Kyle Shanahan. He's always got a creative scheme, and I expect him to take advantage of a pretty overmatched Bears team.
So I'll put you down for San Francisco. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens if the Rams win the football game. If they lose, I think they will stay with Trey Lance in the first game no matter what. But he's coming in. Yeah, Garoppolo's there, and I don't know how willing he's going to be to sacrifice games. Trent Williams is getting up in years, and that window for him to help them to the Super Bowl is kind of winding down.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how willing Kyle Shanahan is going to be to take a loss. If the Rams win, he's going to be less willing to stay with Trey Lance. So a lot of people saying, well, he'll probably stay for about 7 games. I don't think so. I think Jimmy G will come to the rescue probably pretty early if Trey Lance struggles. He's experienced. He's thrown in college and pros 370 passes and played 17 games.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah,
that they took him as high as they did
for a Super Bowl team. A team with aspirations, but the team around him is really strong. Mm-hmm. I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be kind of a up and coming star. He was last year, and I think he'll even have a better year this year if Lance can get him football. They will run the ball heavily, and that should create some throwing lanes for him. And they've got a good offensive line to protect him. Chicago, Justin Fields, this is his year. He's got a coach that's fully behind him. Like you said, they didn't do much to improve the offensive line. They picked up Alex Leatherwood, the number 1 draft choice from the Raiders, but Leatherwood didn't have a great year last year.
No, he was pretty bad. There's a reason Oakland didn't keep him, or Las Vegas.
Oakland would have kept him if they could have.
If they could have.
I know that for sure. And how motivated Raekwon Smith is going to be. He was very vocal about wanting to be traded. That didn't happen. I'm also picking San Francisco in this game. All right, let's go to the next game. And it looks like it's going to be the Cleveland Browns. This is the first of the quarterback revenge games. Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns.
I went back and forth on this one. I don't like the quarterbacking situation in Cleveland, of course. I mean, they're at 11 games with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett did not look good he probably hasn't looked too promising in a few years now, but last year it was pretty shocking in his relief duties. So I know that the Browns have a good roster. That defense will show up for them. But I expect Baker Mayfield to play lights out in this game. He's a pretty focused guy, especially when he feels slighted. And Carolina, they're healthy in the beginning of the year. They may get dinged up later on. I expect them to do well at home and take away a win on this one.
All right, I'm also picking Carolina. Cleveland is notorious for their opening day miseries. They're 0-16-1 over the last 17 seasons.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive. At some point, that's going to change.
But they're so consistent.
Not when they're out quarterbacked by Baker Mayfield. So it's not going to happen this week. They've got Chubb, they've got Hunt, and Myles Garrett is certainly capable of taking over a game like Derek Thomas used to of the Chiefs. But Carolina's got a decent offensive line, and I think they will do enough to protect Mayfield. And Mayfield has been in a lot of big games in Oklahoma. He's been in some big games with Cleveland, and he'll be ready, and I think he'll take the Carolina Panthers down. All right, Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions.
So Detroit's got a pretty up-and-coming team. They're a lot of fun to watch on HBO's Hard Knocks. Aiden Hutchinson looks like the real deal. He had a pretty good preseason. Jared Goff, from what I saw, he's been playing pretty well. He's still Jared Goff, so he can always regress. They have a good running backs room, and like I said, an upcoming defense that has potential on all the levels of the ball there. But the Eagles are one of the most complete teams in the league. They are gonna take this game from the Lions. I expect Jalen Hurts to come out looking like he has something to prove, because he does. He's got new toys with A.J. Brown. Deontay Smith is on his second year. I expect him to take a jump for him. And I think the Eagles defense should be able to hold up against this Lions team for sure.
Well, definitely, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are 9-8. I do think they have the best roster in the NFC East.
Okay.
And they got a great offensive line, which should allow Jalen Hurts to do whatever he wants to do with his receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Sanders is a good running back. Detroit Lions, they'll show up and they'll give a battle. Bruce Campbell, I love that coach. He's an impressive man. He really is. But they're still a little bit short. I think they're better than last year, and I think they'll win more games than last year, but they're not winning this week.
No.
Okay, Baltimore Ravens at the New York Jets. Wilson will not be playing. It will be
Flacco. Joe Flacco.
Flacco.
Yes, the ageless Joe Flacco. If you have to start Joe Flacco, you're not in a good position to win, I don't think. He's up there. The Jets, as we mentioned in the first show, great draft, up-and-coming team. They look like they're building it the right way, but the Ravens are just in a better spot at this point. They've set Lamar Jackson up to compete for a contract this season. They offered him some money, and he said, I'm worth more, and I'm going to show it to you. I expect him to go out and have a pretty big game against the Jets. They're still very young on defense and offense. And the only old part about the Jets is probably Joe Flacco, to be honest with you. So I think that the Ravens will run all over the Jets, and their defense should be able to contain that Jets offense.
Yeah, with all the new players on the Jets team, I think it will be an interesting game to watch with Gardner and Jermaine Johnson.
And Breece Hall, that rookie running back, they love him.
I would say I loved him in college, but I don't think he's like Jonathan Taylor. I think he's a good running back. Will be a good NFL player. The Jets have lost 12 straight games in September, and there's just no momentum into week one here. No contract yet for the Ravens quarterback, but he's gonna play and he'll have a good game. Ball controls their game. They're getting J.K. Dobbins back. They added Kyle Hamilton as a safety on defense. They still got what's his name, Marion Campbell, defensive lineman. Big guy. He's like 6'8".
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah,
that guy is.
He's still there.
Right? Yeah, he's not going anywhere, and he's tough to move.
They're still tough up front. So I'm picking the Ravens to beat the Jets, but still, I think an interesting game to tune in if you're inclined. Next is the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins.
I tried to overthink this one. I really did, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think the Patriots roster is probably worse than last year. Mac Jones might be better. They say he looks incredible, is throwing the ball even better than he was last year, and that he's ready to make a year two leap. But the Dolphins have a ton of weapons, a good defense, and if they can stop the Patriots' running game and make Mac beat them, I think that they should walk out of this one with a win. And I do think that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will probably do some damage while NFL defenses try to adjust for that much speed on the outside. So I expect the Dolphins to take this one.
They have had New England's number for some time. They're in Miami. New England's only won 2 games of the last 9.
Yeah.
So they struggle going into it. They're going to be running back heavy. They got a new offensive coordinator, Josh Daniels, has moved on, and he's with the Raiders now. I think they may have the least roster in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as bad as the Jets, but Jets are getting better.
When's the last time you could say those rosters were close, though? I mean, they've missed on so many picks in the draft. The
That's true.
Yeah.
And so Miami, they're trending up with adding him. They got Waddle. They were 9-8 last year. New England was 10-7. I think they're trending down.
Yep.
It's not been said who's going to call the plays yet on offense. I think it's going to be Bill Belichick.
You can't doubt him, but man, that's a tough spot to put him in. But we'll see. They'll make it. They'll have to figure it out.
So we're both on Miami, and so far we've only differed in one pick. That's the Thursday night game. Next game up is the Washington Commanders and Jacksonville Jaguars. I had to think about this one.
Well, it should be a great game. Both teams aren't very good. Usually creates some good football when they're on even footing. So I think that Washington being home is really not that much of an advantage with their lousy stadium and kind of lackluster fan base after the unfortunate 20-year reign of Dan Snyder as the owner here. And Jacksonville is an up-and-coming team. They expect Trevor Lawrence, now that he's out from under the thumb of Urban Meyer, to have a pretty good season. I think their defense is great. The adding the player from Georgia is going to be big. That opens up things for Josh Allen rushing from the other side. And I think that should stymie Carson Wentz pretty quickly.
Yeah, unlike in Georgia, I think Trayvon Walker is going to be dedicated to rushing the passer. He wasn't that necessarily in Georgia, but he will be, I think, with Jacksonville. I like Jacksonville's head coach, Dave Peterson. They definitely upgraded the defense, and they got Travis Etienne back on offense.
Yep, he's healthy.
And I would say this week, if Trevor Lawrence is ever going to show us the Trevor Lawrence we saw in college, it's going to be this week, because Washington's secondary is last. Right, last year they were last in the NFL. They had a pretty good defense 2 years ago, and people were talking about that, but they slipped really bad last year. We'll see if they can rebound this year. They hired Ryan Kerrigan to coach the defensive line. He's the all-time sacks leader for the Redskins.
Yes, he retired this offseason, actually almost at the start of camp. Just couldn't go again. Great player for them for years and years. I remember when he was drafted and had a great career. So he'll be a great coach for him, but he doesn't have a lot of talent to work with Chase Young out. They really haven't been building in the trenches the way one would expect.
I got to double check. You're picking
Jacksonville.
I went with Washington.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. You think Scary Terry's going to go off? Is that what's –
I thought that would make you happy. No.
There we go.
Dan is from the D.C. area. If you didn't know. All right, next game is the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. We might be done talking about this game by the time I get the helmets up.
All right, I got the Colts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Texans are going to be rough. We'll see. I have hopes for Mills. I think he's solid, but I don't know how invested they are in him with what they've done in the offseason. They're selling more pieces off than they're adding in, and not getting better. So that tells me maybe they're not as bought into Davis Mills as they're publicly saying.
Mills had a pretty good,
probably the favorite for this division.
Yeah, he had a pretty good year last year, but most of his passes were like 5 yards. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
he does not
Never
throw
heard of
downfield. Now, I do think Damian Pierce is an up-and-coming running back, but Houston had nothing going for them on defense. There's holes everywhere. The Colts are pretty scrappy. Matt Ryan will be there with Jonathan Taylor. If Taylor leads the league in rushing again, he'll have to compete with Derrick Henry. But there's not too many running backs that have done it 2 years in a row. Can you remember the last one? Who was the last one? It's been a while.
I think it was LaDainian Tomlinson was the last one to go back-to-back.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
It's been a while.
But I think Jonathan Taylor is capable and should get off to a great start with Houston's defense to the NFL's worst. Still picking Indianapolis. All right, now the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. Another marquee game here.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a fight. Went back and forth on it. There's going to be a lot of Raider fans at this game. The Chargers, they just don't get the fans the way that some of the other teams do. And sometimes they play away games at home. So that being said, I think the Raiders are going to have trouble with their offensive line early in the season until they get that figured out. They will probably struggle a little more than people expect. But I would think that they would get that cleaned up more toward the middle of the year. That being the case, I really love how the Chargers come out of the gates every season. They usually come out fast, get a lot of big wins early, and then kind of fade toward the end. So I will take the Chargers in this one.
I'm also taking the Chargers. What's the over/under? Will the Vegas fans be over 50% or under 50%?
I mean, I'm taking the over, I think.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
No, it's not. That's an easy trip
It's
from
an easy
Oakland or Las Vegas.
trip. Amtrak makes that trip.
Exactly.
So for me to become a big believer in Vegas, I'm going to have to see improved fundamental play on both lines. They can rush the passer with the defensive ends, Crosby and Chandler Jones. Yeah, but then Chandler Jones started off like a house of fire last year, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, he faded.
So they just don't play with a pad level that is low enough, and it's like sometimes when one of their offensive linemen gets blowing up on the line on like a pass rush play, it looks like he's going to get ejected into outer space. I mean, they're playing so high. I watched 2 other preseason games. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to get that pad level down and play with better fundamentals on the line. I think they have the talent to be good, but they're gonna have to show it. Their defense was 21st in the NFL last year. Offensive line's a little iffy. David Carr will be glad to have not David Carr, is it Derek Carr?
Yes.
Yeah, Derek Carr.
No, sorry. His brother was.
Yeah, which one's which? One's on TV and one's quarterback for the Raiders.
We're working with Derek these days.
Okay, Derek.
His career was ruined by the Texans.
And he will be able to throw to, I think, Darren Waller. He's back to practice. So I think it's going to be Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and Devontae Adams. He's going to have a great trio to work with. He's got a very good running back. That Hunter Renfrow, again, I say it every week, he's like the ghost of Fred Biletnikoff. I was watching again on some NFL channel this morning, and the move he put on that guy that I saw on the play they show was just, how do you do that? He is the ghost of Fred Biletnikoff. The Chargers, we said it before, they got superstars in every position group. Their secondary is very strong. So secondary may be able to handle those 3 receivers. That'll be interesting to see if they can in this game. I'm picking the Los Angeles Chargers. Next game is the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, so I got to stick with my guns on this one. I think the Packers might start a little slow. Like you said, Rodgers didn't play in the preseason. He's got a bunch of receivers that he talked bad about for most of training camp. He started to be a little bit more positive recently, but I think that at first communication is going to be a bit of an issue for the Packers. They have a very good defense, but the Vikings do have a lot of weapons. And since I did pick the Vikings to finally beat the Packers in the division this year, I got to kind of stick with my guns. I'll take the Vikings at home in this one.
Well, I'm with you. I'm also taking the Vikings. Didn't the Packers lay an egg first week last year?
Yep, they did not show up at all.
It was ugly. And we have every reason to believe it could be another egg this week coming. Kirk Cousins has beat the Green Bay Packers in the past. He's beat them 3 times. So, and now he's playing for a coach that likes him. That can make a difference. Mike Zimmer hated him. And I think the feeling was probably mutual. So he's got Justin Jefferson to work with. He's got Dalvin Cook, and a better coach. Kevin Thielen. Yeah, Thielen's a real favorite up there. And I also think that their left tackle, Christian Darrisaw I think he was from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah, I think he's an up-and-coming player. He could be a superstar in this league. So, yeah, I'm picking the Vikings.
Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Okay, next game is the New York Giants at the Tennessee Titans. Giants' old head coach is now helping Belichick in New England.
Oh, yeah. Of course he is. The Joe Judge, right? Judge. Our favorite coach ever.
I don't think he'll be calling the plays.
No. He'll be lucky to line up the special teams, I think. So, yes, the Giants have an adult in the room at coach, apparently now, which will help them over the course of the season. But I think that the Titans are an incredibly well-coached team. Mike Vrabel is just one of the more solid coaches. He makes sure to have his offensive and defensive lines ready to play every week. They are able to kind of grind and generate wins. As you saw last year, they were the 1 seed in the AFC. Derrick Henry's back healthy, and I don't see the Giants winning this one. They'll be better, but not this week.
I don't see this as a blowout. I think the Giants may play with the Titans, but they've got Derrick Henry back, and he alone can take over a game. And Tennessee's banged up a little bit. They've lost Harold Landry. Robert Woods is coming back from injury, isn't he? I think he's playing.
Yeah, he was hurt for the season-ending injury when he was with the Rams.
Right.
But he's a heck of a player. He just gets hurt a lot.
They signed Josh Gordon. It'll be interesting to see if Gordon gets on the field. He wasn't signed to the practice squad, so I think he's going to be on the roster. Tennessee's got a good punter.
There we go.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So if the Giants are going to score, they're going to have to go the whole way down the field.
Right.
Want to see Thibodeau, see how he plays. They got some pieces on defense: Ojulari, Dexter Lawrence, and Thibodeau.
Yeah, they're building.
Mike Kafka, former Kansas City Chiefs OC.
Oh, there you go.
He calling the plays for the Giants. So I think they're going to do better than 4-13, what they did last year. But I got to see it to believe it that they beat the Titans. I'm picking the Titans as well as you. All right, next game.
Oh, boy. I knew it was coming. Okay, this is one that for some reason we're looking forward to. I haven't figured out why yet. Great to see a Chiefs helmet up there. That is what I'd been waiting for. Cardinals are a good team. They start strong most seasons. I think that they're missing some key pieces with DeAndre Hopkins. He just can't stay on the field, whether he's hurt or he's suspended. He's a great player, but man, to pay a receiver that much money and not be able to have him on the field almost half the time he's with your team, that's a tough one. They lost Jones on the defense for the Cardinals. He was, as you said, just a force in the backfield for a few years there for him. Had a little bit of trouble with consistency. I don't see relying on J.J. Watt and the guys that they have to generate a consistent pass rush. And the Chiefs' offensive line is very good. I think they're going to be able to get Mahomes a ton of time this season. I expect him to pretty easily carve up this Cardinals defense. And I think the Chiefs will take this win.
I think Mahomes is going to be on a mission this year. There are some national people that are picking the Chiefs to fall off the cliff and not even make the playoffs.
Right.
I think it's going to be tough to get back to the AFC Championship because of how strong the division is. But think of it, and I was thinking about this morning. This team has been able to go 4 straight AFC Championships, 2 Super Bowls, and the 2 Super Bowls they didn't make, they lost in overtime. One was a coin flip, and then they lost to last year in overtime.
Yep.
So they really should have been 4 straight Super Bowls very easily for this team.
Yep.
So how with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, how do you just go out on a limb and say they ain't making the playoffs?
Yeah, they gotta show me that first. That's a tough ask. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there. But they pick the Chargers every year. I think the past 4 years, all these national media people.
But I didn't figure on Staley going for every 4th down he could possibly go for.
Right.
I didn't figure that.
No, the decision making is
the only thing that held them back last year was a hard-headed coach, and they had some injuries. Most of them missed some time, and but yeah, San Diego is going to be, and Denver is going to be a handful.
Yeah. So
Arizona, they re-signed Kyler Murray, and he has started. The Cardinals have started the last 3 years like a house of fire, and then they faded from about mid-season on. They got J.J. Watt back, but we played J.J. Watt back before, and when he was with the Texans, he never really hurt us. We were able to control him. Hopkins won't be there.
they lost
Antonio,
30 season.
Yeah, they got problems in the secondary, and Antonio Hamilton, a defensive cornerback, is going to miss the first 4 games because of a cooking accident. Spelled cooking on his foot. So he's not going to be there. I think that Rondell Moore, I think, is going to be a breakout player. I think he could hurt the Chiefs. But now the Chiefs have come out with their depth chart today. It looks like Trent McDuffie, a rookie cornerback from Washington, will be starting. And it looks like Leo Chanel, linebacker, is going to start. So
preseason.
I'm a little surprised about that. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be the kick returner. And I actually think all the rookies are going to get significant time in this game. The Chiefs are wanting to get younger, and none of these guys that they drafted and added really showed us any red flags during the preseason.
No.
So I think they're going to see some time.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see.
I was surprised to not see Karlaftis on the number 1 depth chart. They got Mike Dana there, and I guess they're figuring Arizona might run first down, but I do think
every time
Karlaftis might be coming in pretty quick.
Yeah,
that's Mahomes is 4-0 on opening day, and he's averaged 36.25 points a game on opening day. So he is known to come out ready to play. And I think the defense, they were not ready last year, first 5 games, but they know why they weren't ready. And I think, they've had nearly a year to address that problem. I think they'll be ready. I think a lot of people are predicting, a high-scoring game that Arizona will fill it up and Kansas City will fill it up. I think Kansas City will fill it up because Arizona's secondary, I don't see them stopping us.
No.
But I don't see Arizona filling it up on our defense. I
don't think so. I think they're a lot tougher than they were last year, and I would imagine they learned from the early struggles of last season.
We're both on Kansas City. All right, next we got 2 more games. The second to last one is Tampa and Dallas. This could be a car wreck.
Yeah, this was one of the ones I circled. These are 2 teams that kind of have a few flags, but should be pretty good teams. I think that Tampa is the better team out of the 2. I like their depth. They do have problems in the middle of their offensive line for Tampa, but Dallas's rushers are primarily edge guys. So I would think that Tampa can pull this one out, even in Jerry world. We'll see. I'm sure this is one we're going to differ on, but we'll see how it goes. And then Dallas, I just don't think their defense is as good as it was last year. So I expect Brady to light them up.
Both teams are suffering some subtractions. Dallas lost Tyrone Smith, the left tackle. And we talked about that in the preview show. They signed Jason Peters. He's like 40 years old.
Yeah,
you put him on the practice squad, but we watched him in Chicago, and
watching him walk is painful.
He's not going to help them. I mean, he just can't move.
Yeah.
They lost Randy Gregory, defensive end. So Micah Parsons is a great pass rusher, but so was Gregory, and they don't have him. So,
they'll really be able to focus the blocking schemes on Micah now.
Their number 1 and number 3 wide receivers are out. So there's going to be a lot on CD Lamb, who had drops last year. He's going to have to catch the ball. Did you see that video? I think it was last week where the Cowboys let fans in to watch their practice indoors, and the fans were sitting around, and then the film was on the tunnel, and there was a African American comedian that dressed up like Ezekiel Elliott. He had number 21 on, and he's carrying a football, and he's walking out like Ezekiel Elliott walks, but he's got a stomach. So the fans see him and they're cheering, and they can't wait to see Zeke. The two guys behind him, they were doing everything they could to keep it together. It was hilarious.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
I think that might have been the video of the year.
Yeah, you got to have fun.
Tampa Bay, they've got some subtractions as well, although they got Chris Goodwin's back in practice. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll be playing. But they're missing, their interior offensive line, the left guard, the right guard, and the center. Yeah. They've got to replace those guys. And I guess the plan is for Brady to get rid of the ball in under 2 seconds, I guess. But
Ben Roethlisberger plan.
and the defense, yeah, it's going to be the Ben Roethlisberger plan. And the defense knows that. I mean, Dallas will know that. So, I'm not going to talk about what's going on in Tom Brady's world, but it's not good.
No.
He let us know that much. So the scary thing about that, though, when Brady does get challenged, he always delivers. It's like a pissed off Brady is. You don't want to deal with pissed off Brady.
No.
So that's what the one thing I think Tampa definitely has going for it. I just didn't see them replacing the offensive line the way the Chiefs did after they lost that Super Bowl. Chiefs really made it their number one priority, and they came up with an offensive line. And I didn't see that. I didn't see that same effort with Tampa. I could be wrong. We'll see. But I am also, because of all the problems with Dallas and the head coaches, I like Tom Bowles way better than McCarthy.
Right.
He, by the way, just got his college degree this week.
Really?
Yeah. And that was a promise. That was a promise he made. I guess he went to the NFL and he hadn't graduated. And he promised his mother or somebody that he would get it, and he finally got it this week.
Good for him. Okay.
I'm picking Tampa Bay. I think they're going to beat the Cowboys. Hate to say that. Tampa's almost always my least favorite team.
Right? It's hard to pick them.
Last game, Monday night, another quarterback revenge game.
Oh, yeah.
What was the third one? The first one was Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker.
And then you got Russell Wilson going back to Seattle.
Yep.
There was another one, and it's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, let's do this game.
Oh, yeah. So for this one, the Seahawks are going to be an interesting team to watch. We'll see if they commit to run. They're going to be able to get downfield passing going. Geno Smith is not afraid to throw a lot of picks. We know that. And the Seattle defense it isn't very good. The Broncos are very excited about their team this year. Russell Wilson has already had his number retired by the team, it seems like. They already gave him a brand new deal. I didn't see a lot from Russ the past couple years in Seattle, but there's a lot of confidence that he'll get back to the Russell Wilson of old, the Russell Wilson that was in the playoffs every year and competing for MVPs. And I love the Broncos roster. I think their defense is just great. And then their offense is going to be good. They've got a lot of pieces. Patrick, Cortland Sutton, a good two-headed running back attack with Gordon and Williams. I think that they will take care of the Seattle Seahawks, even with the 12th man there.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun Monday night game with Russell Wilson returning. But I think Denver just has too many weapons. They can beat you in a variety of ways. They can run it down your throat with Devontae Williams. That is a tough man to tackle. The Chiefs had a hard time tackling him. And the Chiefs are a pretty physical team.
Sure.
I think he's going to be a breakout player for them. I think he's better than Melvin Gordon, although Melvin Gordon is good too. Mm-hmm. New head coach, new offensive coordinator. That may be a little bit of a problem early on, but I don't see anything that Seattle has that can match them, except for at wide receiver with Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and they got a good tight end. Noah Fant is good. But Seattle's secondary is very porous, one of the most porous secondaries. And Russell Wilson should have a field day up there in Seattle, showing Pete Carroll and crowd what they're missing.
What they had.
What they had.
Let Russ cook.
All right, so we only differ in
I think 2, right?
maybe 3. The Jacksonville,
Rams.
Washington, Rams and Buffalo. And then we differed in the Washington, Jacksonville. Yeah, you're right. Just the 2.
Just the 2. Wow, look at us. Well, I won't give up much ground to you this first week then.
No, we're going to break out head to head. And it could be a crazy week like last year. There were 6 crazy upsets last year.
Oh,
and we went 50-50. The same thing could happen this year. Although I'm pretty confident in most of these picks.
Yeah, I didn't have to think too hard on many of these.
I didn't either. Yep. I'm excited.
Hey.
Less, 25 hours till the season starts?
Right? Man, and what a game to start with. That'll be a show.
As Ed Sullivan say, it's going to be a really big show. Well, I want to thank Ron McGaff and Apple Laurie for joining us. We didn't get a big crowd on this live show, but I think the last show last week had more. But a lot of people did watch it afterwards, so there is still interest out there to see the picks. I'm gonna put some advance notice up before next week, see if we can get a bigger crowd. And then just for everyone's FYI, we haven't decided yet on a regular time for the show. We should have a hand on that probably next week.
Definitely.
Dan, thanks for joining us. You have a good night. And everybody, bye-bye.
You too, Brian. Let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. You bet.